Racism has no place in our society. And this story is not about racism. This story is about a family, the Keita family, looking for their teenager, their troubled teenager. Race should have no part of this story. But since it does, it's important to know that Mr. Keita, Mrs. Keita, and Jordan have three biracial children, and for Jordan, 3 biracial siblings. On this particular evening, one of the siblings was missing, and Jordan was called to come help his sibling. The stories that have been put out there by Mr. Lee about this family are slanderous, defamatory, and disgusting. Make no mistake, this case is not about race, it's about a missing child. On May 3rd, the Keita family learned that their child was missing. They first began a search for her. Time was of the essence. They began going to houses on their street, knocking on doors, and eventually they called Jordan. Jordan does work at the New Hanover County Sheriff's Department, and he was on duty that night. He was called to come home so that he could help his family search for his sister. And he did. He asked for permission to leave, and he left. He came here, but he didn't make it here because the search was ongoing. They searched multiple streets. They searched multiple houses. They went to multiple locations. They searched through the woods. This wasn't a one-place stop. It is also true that they received a tip that their missing daughter and sister was at a place off of Avendale. They were given the name Josiah. They went to Avendale. They were looking for Josiah. But understand, this is not a mistaken identity case. It's a mistaken address. They had no idea the race, the color of Josiah. They only knew that they were looking for their missing sibling and daughter. They did go there. And they are very sorry about how the shepherds must feel. They would like nothing more than to speak to the shepherds, to apologize to the shepherds about how they feel. Again, it's not about racism. Racism has no place in our society. So tonight, we ask that we reach out to the Shepherd family. Let's sit down and let's talk. Let's put race aside as this family has done for at least the last 10 years. And let's do what's right. Let's say no to the divisive politics of racism. And yes, to the unification of humanity.
All right, Mr. Keita, in your own words, do you want to kind of recount the events of that May 3rd evening and what happened, just so we get it from your point of view?
Sure. It was that night that we discovered that our daughter was missing. We looked all around the neighborhood. We were running through the woods in our area. We live in a wooded area. At that point, it was about to get dark outside, so a lot of the neighbors saw that we were going through the woods and we had flashlights and we were calling her name, and we were kind of in a frantic mode at that point. And people kind of joined in to help us look through the woods, and they were asking friends where she might have been. And it was a frantic situation. We called the Pender County Police at that point. They came to our home. They helped us search the woods. They had a helicopter searching the woods also. The Pender County Fire Department was helping us. They had drones in the air looking in the woods, looking at houses that were under construction that were not lived in yet. With the help of the Pender County Sheriff's Department, we searched through multiple houses. We searched through the woods. We were in different neighborhoods, not just our own neighborhood. We were getting tips on and off all night of where she might have been, and there were conflicting back and forth. She may be here, she may be there. We did get the name of Josiah, and we found out that he lived in Avendale. At that point, we told the Pender County Police, who we were with at that point, we're going to go to Avendale and asked if it was okay if we knocked on doors and asked, if anybody has seen her and if we had a picture of her. We were told yes. We went to Avendale. At that point, after I spoke to a couple different neighbors and we were asking for our daughter, if anybody'd seen her, we had more information of an address, which was the Shepherd's home. We did not know the Shepherd's home. We believed that that's where Josiah was at. So we went to the address, and at that point, we discovered that Josiah was not there. He did not live there, and we were at the wrong address. There was no accusations. There was no argument. There was no reason for us to be angry or no reason. It wasn't about racism. It was about looking for our daughter that we were scared to death, that she was in crisis mode, and we were also. And that's what took place that night. And after that event, we also continued to search the rest of the night with the Pender County Sheriff's Department to look for our daughter. The rest of the night, all through the morning.
So the Pender County Sheriff's Office was aware of everything that was going on pretty much the entire time. It wasn't necessarily a surprise when the Sheriff's Office came up. They knew that you guys were already out in Avondale and that you were conducting door-to-door searches.
Absolutely.
We called Pender County as soon as it was about 20 minutes after, we realized that our daughter was missing. We searched this neighborhood to see if she was taking a walk or something, and then nothing came up. So we called Pender County right away.
Every step of the way.
They came to our house first, and then we continued our search outside of the neighborhood, and they were with us every step of the way. We have several phone calls and text to them throughout the whole night.
Right. We were working with them the entire night. They knew the neighborhoods we were in. I called them. They knew the address we were going to. It was not that we were going there and they didn't know, and there was no secrets.
Right.
We were working with them the entire night.
We were looking everywhere.
Was there anything racist? Did you have any racist intentions? Was there anything racially motivating when you went to the Shepherd's house that night?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, I feel like it's disgusting that this narrative has been put out there. I mean, our family is a mixed family. It's hurtful, really. It really is. It hurts us, and
we had
it's terrible.
We had no anger whatsoever. It was all worry and in a frantic state, just trying to find our daughter.
Now, as far as the accusations from the Shepherds that they were, they called it an armed mob, that was, I believe another individual is charged with going armed to the terror of the public. Were there weapons involved? And if so, were they ever used in any sort of threatening manner towards the Shepherds when you arrived at that location?
Well, first off, just let me say, I wouldn't consider us an armed or a mob of people. We were a search party for our daughter. So I'll let him continue.
Right. There was a man that was armed. We did not know that. He was, as everybody knows the story. We did not know that he was armed, and we got there, and I saw it, and we told him to put that away. Why would you have that? And it was an error in judgment for him.
And we had
absolutely
nothing
was
to do.
no intent of hurting anyone. We were there simply looking for our daughter. We were in crisis mode, and we were looking for our daughter. That's the only reason we were at that home.
Right. Now, it was also alleged that your group was trying to gain entry into the house of the Shepherds. Was that the case? And if so, what were you hoping, to do if you did gain access to the house, if that was the intention?
We never wanted to gain access to the house.
No, there was no intent to gain access. We were there simply looking for our daughter. We were asking if they knew where she was, or if she had seen her, if she had knew the other individual we believed that might have been there with her.
We would have
That
asked.
was our only intent.
They would have asked anyone that answered the door, just as we asked several other homes and people. When they answered their doors, we went to every neighbor in this neighborhood. In Hunter Court, and we went to Avendale, and went to empty houses. It wasn't just one specific.
So your search party did go to different homes before you ever made it to the Shepherds?
Yes.
Yes, many homes.
Okay.
Many different neighborhoods also.
And now what about, it was alleged there was a man holding a shotgun. Was that accurate? We have one account of the AR-15 that you said you told the individual to go put that back. Then they allege there's another man with a shotgun standing on the porch or near the porch.
There was never a shotgun there that anybody saw, no. I never saw a shotgun, and I don't believe that happened, no.
Okay. Mark?
And Mr. Akita was armed, is that correct, with a holstered gun?
My son Jordan was, yes, he was in his
His-
New Hanover County Sheriff's Deputy uniform, and he has an issued weapon. It was never brought out, it was never touched, it was never used as a threat. He was in crisis mode, and we were looking for our daughter, and it's not realistic to think that you would go home when you believe that somebody you love is possibly hurting themselves, and you would go home and change your clothes before you would go search for them. It's just
Right.
any loving brother, parent would do that also.
I called him when we first noticed that our daughter was missing, and he was at work, and I texted him and I said, hey, you know, your sister, we can't find her, and he left work. He never got into his uniform for
Correct.
this, you know, particular search party. He left work with the intent of going back to work.
Can you address the specific allegation that Mr. Akita here put his foot in the door to prevent it from closing and try to gain entrance into the home?
We don't want to get into specifics of the night. We're simply putting our story out there that we were looking for our daughter, and there was no racism involved, and that's kind of where we want to go with that.
I did want to ask, and I know we've already kind of reported, but you did find your daughter eventually, and she is safe.
Yes, thank God.
Yes,
The next
the next
morning, she
morning.
was found by New Hanover County Police Department.
Okay.
What time was that the next morning she was found?
Approximately 9 a.m.
I guess if you could say anything to the Shepherd family, I know you said you'd like to have a sit down, but what would you like to say to them to see that they're going on national news and talking to this narrative that's come out that this was a racially inspired incident? What would you say to them?
I mean, I feel like we would just want to speak to them family to family, you know, father to father, mother to mother. This was not about racism. We are not racist. We're good people. We did not go there knowing, you know, if they were African American or they're Caucasian. We didn't know that, and that was not why we were there. We were there to look for our daughter. We could sit down and talk to them as, you know, come together as good people.
And we understand their feelings, and we just hope that they can do the same with us and understand, like, our point of view and the the mindset that we had that night searching. It was getting dark. You know, we felt like we were just running out of daylight. We were running out of options. We were just getting different leads from people, and we had no bad intentions going to anyone's house. We went to several, and we're sorry for the way they feel, you know, and we just hope that we can come together and talk as human beings. You know, it's not we're this color and they're that color. We're all humans, and it had nothing to do with race at all. At all. Nothing.